This is the new glass palette Studio Series Glory Hole. It features a propane fired, air driven, with adjustable blower control conveniently mounted in the front. This will allow you to change your air settings in the event that you want to be able to do a reduction atmosphere by simply lowering this handle. It also has a 5-inch opening and a total depth of 15 inches. It has an easy reach propane shutoff valve. It's a ball valve, and it also comes with a regulator and 6 feet of T-grade hose. The ceramic fiber lining is 2 inches thick, which provides quieter operation and a superior heat retention. The large flange on the base allows for securing of the unit to the work surface as well as improved stability. There's also an adjustable height ball bearing punny rest in this instructional video. And what I'm going to show you in this video is simply the hookup of the unit when you receive it and how to light and adjust the flame. Hi, I'm Don McKinney, and this is the glass palette Studio Series Glory Hole. Combine this with the new AIM kiln, the Studio Series crucible furnace. It's an electrical crucible furnace, and you're ready to do your own marbles and paperweights and other small blown objects right in your own studio. I'd like to talk about a couple safety issues first off. We're going to be dealing with propane. Anytime you're dealing with propane, you want to make sure you're taking the proper precautions. This is a 5-gallon cylinder of liquid propane. It's the same cylinder you would see on your barbecue grill. You don't want to store this in your garage or in your workspace or even in a shed that doesn't have proper ventilation. Should the tank leak and build up to an explosive level, you could possibly have a problem. So you want to make sure you store this outside or in a well-ventilated place. The other thing that you want to keep in mind is that the glory hole gets hot. And anything around the glory hole that could burn could possibly become a hazard. So when you're doing this work, make sure that your work area is free of flammable materials. Keep your glory hole far enough away from any type of flammables. You don't want to touch the skin after it's been running for a while. It does get hot. You're going to need a couple tools. We're going to need a wrench to attach the regulator to the propane tank, and we're also going to need a cylinder of propane with a torch head on it to light the glory hole. First thing I want to do is hook the regulator to the propane tank. And all propane fittings are a left-handed thread, which means that they go just the opposite of what you're used to doing. You turn it counterclockwise to tighten it and clockwise to loosen it. Most threaded nuts are just the opposite, where you turn clockwise to tighten and counterclockwise to loosen. Thread it in, take your wrench, make sure you have a good snug fit. Check all your fittings for leaks using soapy water. Spray it on all the areas where you've got connections and you're looking for a bubble that expands and pops. There's also an odor to propane, and if you smell propane, you want to check out all your fittings before you continue. Now that we're connected, I'm going to turn the propane on at the tank. But I first want to check and make sure that the handle on the glory hole is in the off position. On a ball valve, the off position would be perpendicular to the supply line. Anywhere in between that, once you start to turn this lever downwards, the propane will be flowing. Full on is when the handle is parallel to the supply line. So perpendicular, we're full off. I'm going to turn my propane on, then I'm going to set this propane tank down out of the way in an area where it's easy to reach, so that if I did have a problem, I could shut the propane off. The next step is to plug in the blower. The blower needs to be running to drive the propane inside of the glory hole. If we didn't have the blower going and we were to light the propane would come out the front door of the glory hole. To contain it inside with the blower driving it, no problem. If you were ever to have a power outage when you're running your glory hole, simply come over and turn the propane off at the glory hole, then turn it off at your tank, reestablish your power, get that blower going again before you relight the glory hole. So we're going to take and plug this in. You can hear the blower come on. Now we're going to adjust the amount of airflow that the blower is blowing into the glory hole. To do that, I'm just going to take this lever and push it down so it's just open about 1/4 of the way. That restricts the airflow that's coming in around the burner. If there's too much airflow around the burner, it makes it harder to light. Once we get it lit, we can open it all the way. I'm going to take my torch for the propane tank, the bent neck torch burner, and an auto igniter. This allows me to keep my hand out of the way when I'm lighting the glory hole with a bent neck, and also the auto striker on here will light the torch without me having to look around for my striker. So I'm going to light this and I'm going to aim it directly at the burner. I'm going to slowly turn on the propane, and you'll hear it light. I'm going to increase my airflow to all the way. Turn my torch off. And then the rest of the adjustment takes place with increasing or decreasing the amount of propane flow, just by moving this handle. So I'm going to watch the front edge of the glory hole. And if there's a lot of flame coming out of the glory hole, I'm going to turn the propane down just a little bit to draw that flame back inside. I want a nice even burn. I want it to be a nice bright orange. Now the other benefit of having this blower control, if you're working with glass that reacts to reduction, and some glass does, or some glass that after you blow the glass you want to put in a reduction atmosphere and it will turn it silver or another color. What you would do is after your piece is just about finished, push this handle all the way in. You can hear the pitch change in the glory hole because the volume of air has been reduced. Flames are coming out the front of the glory hole. You now have a reduction atmosphere. You reduce your piece, and then you can put the airflow right back to full, and you're ready to go with your next piece. There's also a flange built into the base of the glory hole. I recommend either bolt that to your bench or clamp it to your bench just to give it more stability. The other thing you want to do is that your honey rest also has a broad base to keep it from tipping over, but I still recommend that you either bolt it to the bench or clamp it to the bench for safety's sake. I also offer glass classes here in my studio. We have bead making classes, fusing classes, and furnace classes. I teach a 2-day marble paperweight class here in the studio. I also teach on the road. I teach for Glasscraft Expo, for the AGSA, and several other organizations such as Vicky Paint Extravaganza. So you can watch for those classes if you want to come in and take a class. Most of the on-road classes are a 1-day class. All the classes in my studio are a 2-day class. If I can answer any other questions for you or give you more further information, my phone number here is 623-934-9903. Thank you for your purchase of the Studio Series Glory Hole. I hope you enjoy it.